Okay, computer, thank you for being slow. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Reel Me In, a movie podcast where you didn't really ask for it, but hey, I'm going to give it to you anyways. This is a podcast where I talk about anything, everything, and, well, anything about movies. Guys, this is the last episode, and my voice is cracked, the last episode of 2014. You know what that means. I don't do a YouTube video on it like everyone else. I do a fucking podcast over it. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the top 10 films of 2014. Now, it's not necessarily the best films. Well, actually, my list is pretty much all the best films of the year. But, it's my personal favorite list. It's the one list where I had a good time in the theater. They were thought-provoking, what have you. But I'm not here alone, because you guys don't want to hear my top 10 list. It's nice to have two lists going so we can fucking argue about why one movie is placed higher than the other. Jackson is back, everyone. He hasn't been back since June, where we did favorite films so far of 2014, so it was only natural to bring him back. So, Jackson, go ahead and say hi to the peeps out there.
Hey, what's up? Yeah, I don't think I've been on since June. Certainly not sober.
Yeah, here's the thing, guys. Jackson's a very powerful man, and he always shoots me down when I ask him, and I ask him kindly. It's just like, hey man, can you help me out this week? Like, no one wants to come on. Everyone says they're tired of listening to me. They need a guest, and can you just be on? And Jackson will tell me to fuck off in the most classiest way possible. But yeah, he's back, and he'll probably be on next week when we do anticipated for the 2015, but guys, it's 2014 time. Before I begin, my podcast last week, I had over the interview and its dilemmas. Real quick, saw it. I saw the movie. I liked it. It's not my favorite Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg movie, but it was enjoyable. Jackson likes it too. I'm really not going to get into it, guys. I'm tired of talking about it, to be honest with you, because with all the controversy and shit. But as a movie, stands on its own. I enjoyed it. So let's get this started, everyone. Before we start with the list, sponsored by CobraCoins.com, you can collect. These coins are collected by video gamers and movie buffs everywhere. You can create fully customized coins for any occasion. Put anything movie related on it. They will do it. CobraCoins.com, cold-blooded hot prices. The only reason I had to shorten that is because this is going to be a long-ass podcast. Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do this. All right, so what we're going to do is me and Jackson are going to announce our honorable mentions for this year, and then we're going to get into 6 through 10, 2 through 5, and then our favorite film of 2014. Let's get into this. Jackson, I'll let you start off first for honorable mentions for 2014.
Okay, so I was originally typing up 5 honorable mentions, and then there was stuff no, I want to mention that, I want to mention that. So this is a big honorable mention list. This was an awesome year.
Yeah.
So I have, in attempted alphabetical order, Batman, Assault on Arkham, awesome animated movie. Boyhood actually did not make my top 10.
Okay.
Captain America, the Winter Soldier, probably my favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes blew me away. The Disappearance of Eleanor Rigby, the him and the her version.
Okay.
I didn't see them. Grand Budapest Hotel, Wes Anderson, fantastic. Interstellar, which was just this visual mindfuck of a movie.
Yeah.
Nightcrawler, which was probably my number 11. That just got pushed off. Jake Gyllenhaal's amazing in that movie. Rene Russo's amazing. I got Noah. Awesome biblical sort of Mad Max meets Lord of the Rings. Only Lovers Left Alive, cool vampire movie by the great Jim Jarmusch. The Raid 2, fantastic action movie, also a great crime movie. Just some of the best action I've seen in years. Still Alice, which Julianne Moore will probably win an Oscar for. She's fantastic. It's a fantastic movie. Sad but never melodramatic. Under the Skin, sort of this quiet Kubrickian, sort of John Carpenter-esque sci-fi movie. It's sexy, it's dark, I love it. Why Don't You Play in Hell by Sion Sono, this fucking wild Japanese movie.
It sounds wild.
It's bonkers. I'll tell you about it afterwards.
Okay.
If you want, because it would take forever to describe it. But needless to say, it's a lot of fun, really violent, really ridiculous. awesome. And my second last one is Wild with Reese Witherspoon. I didn't love Dallas Buyers Club, but this had subtlety to it. Reese Witherspoon's great, Laura Dern's great. It's about a woman sort of wading through guilt, and I love how her sort of emotional baggage leaves and her physical baggage leaves. And the last one's X-Men: Days of Future Past, best X-Men movie, one of the best Marvel movies. It's just a lot of fun.
I'm totally okay with that list. Just to let you guys know, I do not know anything that Jackson is going to say. He does not know anything I'm going to say. We
made a point of not sharing, because even when we were having conversations together, even in group chats, we made a point of when everyone else was talking about their favorites, we made a point of not saying anything.
Yeah, that's the way I wanted.
Saving ourselves for marriage.
Well, I mean, yeah. Don't tell my girlfriend that. That just makes a more interesting show, guys. Because like I said, Jackson sees some weird movies throughout the year, and so do I. So I have no idea what I'm going to put on here. But that's a very interesting honorable mentions list. Boyhood, huh? That movie's being praised out the butthole, and you kind of knock it down a little bit.
And I thought it was great. I didn't think it was perfect, but I thought it was great. It was on my top 10 for a while. I think it'll probably win Best Picture at the Oscars. Yeah. But I had to push it off. And it's one of those things where it's it's hard to pick a child that you love the most. But we all know, most parents probably do love a child more than another. They lie about it. And so that's sort of what it was like for me. It was I love you, but gotta be real, you're not my favorite child. So,
that's just really interesting, but we'll get to that later on, so hint, hint. Honorable mentions for me, X-Men Days of Future Past, the best X-Men film, hands down, and definitely the best superhero movie of the year. Captain America Winter Soldier, just like Jackson said, it's just a very good espionage thriller. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, it's awesome. The one I love with Mark Duplass, I really like that one. It was a very interesting one. I didn't make it in my top 10. The Babadook is an Australian horror thriller, suspense, drama, basically every genre shoved through a meat grinder. I really, really loved it. Very creepy, very well acted. Locke is my honorable mention. That's on most people's top 10. I really liked it, but it's like what Jackson said. There's a lot more better movies this year, so this was just hard as hell. So Locke's in my honorable mention. Tom Hardy in a car for 90 minutes. Can't go wrong there. Nymphomaniac. Yeah.
Did you watch the director's cut or just the...
I have not watched the director's cut, but I can tell you that I felt dirty regardless, and so I scrubbed myself with heavy-duty soap. Yeah, Nymphomaniac, I love it. I don't care what anyone says. Everyone can fuck themselves. But if you are in the mood for a very dirty, raunchy, and actually somewhat visually good-looking movie, Nymphomaniac is your thing, film maniacs. Another one is The Imitation Game. Jackson did not really care for it. And here's the thing. I thought The Imitation Game was solid, but it was not the best movie of the year like everyone's claiming to be. I thought it was a very solid movie.
That and Theory of Everything were two that I felt a little too Oscar baity for my taste.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why people like it. It is a very good movie, but it's not my top 10 is pristine. The Imitation Game just falls below that, but I still like it though. Interstellar, honorable mention, very, very intelligent space movie. I like Christopher Nolan, so there's that. Grand Budapest Hotel, Wes Anderson, can't go wrong there. And then Mommy was in my honorable mention. It actually is number 11. Missed out the top 10. Very, very good foreign film, guys, if you're into some foreign films. Shot like it was shot on an iPhone. It's in 1:1 aspect ratio. Very beautiful movie on a mother and son relationship. I enjoyed the hell out of that movie. But these top 10 are where it's at, folks. So Jackson, let's get into this, man. We're going to do 10 through 6. I will go first on this one. And then Jackson can kind of ask me questions about 10 through 6 and why I put them there and stuff. And he will do his 10 through 6 and we'll vice versa. So, number 10, Enemy with Jake Gyllenhaal. When I first walked out of this movie, I thought to myself, what the fuck was that ending? What was it? So, after I researched it, because, I'm a simpleton. I don't really catch things easily. I really, I understood, everything in it in terms of what the director was going for with like all the metaphors and the symbolism and stuff. But the one thing that happened at the very end, it kind of got me a little confused. But once I looked it up, I was like, I'm sold. That just made me love the movie even more. Jake Gyllenhaal plays two parts. It's just a really odd kind of like, it almost reminded me of like a really fucked up like Alfred Hitchcock movie. And it's directed by the guy that directed Prisoners from last year, and that also made my top 10 list. So, Enemy, it's a very good movie. It's not really for everyone. So if you're a film lover, I would suggest you go see it. If you're not, don't. But it is a very good movie. Jake Gyllenhaal is one of the best actors working today, and he's a beast, and like he's just gonna get better from here. And like here's the thing, like he's always been good, but he's kind of like just been doing mediocre, throughout the years. But these past 2 years, man, like Jake Gyllenhaal is a fucking awesome actor. Like he's elevating himself to a point where like anything he's in, I will watch. I don't even care if it's about him making love to a mop. I don't know. Like he's good, man. Like Enemy, very good, cool film noir type movie. I would suggest you go see it, especially like Prisoners.
It's cool. I'd actually, I would say after you watch it, there's this dude Leon Thomas, Renegade Cut. He has this web series called Renegade Cut, and he does sort of really good analysis of the film. So I recommend if you see the movie. I like the movie. If you see it, check out that analysis afterwards. Jake Gyllenhaal, like I feel like Prince of Persia could have sunk his career, and he just crawled out of that, and he is better than he's been. I think Nightcrawler is his best performance to date.
Oh yeah,
and
hands
Enemy's
down.
up there too, like top 5 performances.
Jackson's right. Enemy's one of those movies where like you're gonna have to watch like an analyzation video just to kind of like get everything. You might get like the bulk of it, but I'm telling you, like if you watch like an analyzation video, it makes it so much better. So Enemy, number 10. Number 9, The Congress. When I went to the Dallas International Film Festival, I even stated in my review, I said that was the best film I saw at the festival. It was a weird movie about Hollywood, and it was half animated. Robin Wright's the main character. Basically, she plays herself, and she's kind of called in by a film studio head. He's like, hey, listen, you're not going to really act anymore, but we want to purchase like the rights to you. So basically her namesake and like her image is still carried on and like sold throughout movies and stuff, but she as a person kind of withers away. And I thought it was just a weird, beautiful movie about Hollywood. It's like something that's never really been done before. Like that's why I think it caught me off guard. It's because I didn't know what to expect. But it had one of those endings where I was like, holy shit, that was depressing. But I think overall as a film, it still stuck with me ever since the festival. I really liked it. It's a very weird movie, and it may not work with some people, but I don't know what to say, man. It worked for me. The Congress. Number 8 is the Lego Movie. I know Jackson really likes this because when the Lego Movie came out in February, we were both like kind of like really giddy about it, like almost to a point where it was like unhealthy and very weird. The Lego Movie is directed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who directed Cloud with a Chance of Meatballs, 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street, the Lego Movie. They are probably one of the funniest, wittiest duos in Hollywood right now. They really are. Like Lego Movie is one of those things where the humor in it just works. It works for kids. It works for adults. It's highly entertaining. I've seen it like 3-4 times this year, and it never gets old. Chris Pratt is the voice for the lead. Fantastic. It's just a very fun movie, and it had a lot of heart to it. It was just very clever for what it was. It has held up to this day, and I really love the Lego Movie. So I'm 25. I'm not a kid, but I can tell you that the Lego Movie works for everyone. Go see it if you have not. Everything is fucking awesome. Number 7, Birdman. Now listen, people are going to probably wonder why the hell it's so low on my list. I enjoyed Birdman for what it was, and Jackson, I was talking to you and George about this. Did you agree with me? I told you like it should have ended at a certain point and not really carry on. I don't want to spoil anything for you guys, but there's a certain point in the movie where it happens, and I was like, it should have ended there instead of carrying on for a little bit. But yeah. I mean, like it's a well shot movie, guys. Like it's a seamless one take. I mean, if you're a film enthusiast, like you know where they cut in terms of like the editing and stuff, but it is a very fluid film. All one takes. The acting is outstanding. I've always liked Michael Keaton. What the fuck is a Keaton? I've always liked Michael Keaton. Even when he was Mr. Mom back in the day, like the guy is just awesome, and he seems like the type of guy to where you would just want to go have a drink with and then talk about how to win at the game of pool or something for like 3 hours. So like he's just one of those guys, and I just like watching him on screen. He kills in this role. He's going to be nominated for an Oscar. Edward Norton is fantastic. It's a very dark and bleak movie, but it's also like kind of darkly comedic at the same time about Hollywood and actors in it and how the fame and the whole celebrity thing of it like kind of wears on them. That was just a very good movie. I highly recommend it. It's not too high up on my list. I know a lot of people are going to shoot me for that because everyone fucking loves Birdman. I love it, but 6 films were better than it, including this one. Number 6, Nightcrawler. I fucking love this movie, and the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I'm going to turn the lights on when I go to sleep because I don't want Jake Gyllenhaal's character Lou Bloom for Nightcrawler to be staring at me through a closet, like kind of breathing heavily. He's that type of character. He's
scary as shit.
He's fucking creepy. He does not blink. He does not blink throughout the entire movie. I'm just like, someone for the love of God, throw water in his eyes or something. Make him blink. He's going to scare the children. Don't let him go to parks. Nightcrawler is, Jackson said it best, is Jake Gyllenhaal's best performance to date, period. I mean, he is fantastic. He's fucking bonkers in this movie. He is a freelance videographer for a news station. He basically films crime scenes and stuff and kind of sells his footage to the news station. It's a very dark and seedy underworld of the news and how it's portrayed in this country and how we really like death and destruction, and we don't as human beings, and we kind of don't like the small stuff. We kind of like the sickening stuff of what makes us a human and how we rot inside and stuff. And yeah, here's the thing though. I like the end, but I wasn't really sold on it. But like 99% of it is awesome to where I was like, fuck it. It did not ruin the experience for me. Yeah, Nightcrawler is a beautifully shot movie by a first-time director, which is fucking outrageous.
Yeah, not a first-time writer.
He's written tons of stuff, but this is his first time directing. You fuck up a movie, first time directing, you're done. He killed it. I cannot wait to see what Dan Gilroy does next. Nightcrawler, you want to see Jake Gyllenhaal do the best performance of his life? Go fucking nuts with it and have a lot of fun. See Nightcrawler. It's a lot of fun. So, Jackson, that's my 10 through 6. Do you have any questions on anything before we get started on yours?
No, I unfortunately I didn't get to see The Congress. I think that was on Rex Reed's worst list.
Oh, okay.
So you might have to fight him on that.
Okay. I mean, it's whatever, man.
I think one thing that's interesting, I might have, I don't know if I said this to you, I probably did. I feel like if you took his character in Nightcrawler and his character in Prisoners and combined them, you get a dude who blinks like a normal amount of times.
Yeah.
And I love, too, like, he lost a lot of weight for the role, and I think the idea was to show that he was hungry because he's sort of this very ambitious dude. And I think someone said something to me that was interesting. He seems like somebody who doesn't know how to interact with people, but he read a book on how to interact with people, and he's just sort of copying that, even though he can't naturally do it. But one thing I love about how gaunt he is that it makes his eyeballs look so much bigger, and he
Right?
looks like an owl.
Yeah, he does.
Which is super fitting because this is a very nocturnal movie. I don't know how often you actually have a scene that's actually in the daytime.
That's true. Like it is shot mostly at night.
All at night, yeah. For him to look like an owl, I think that had to have been intentional.
That's actually a really good observation. I never even thought about it until now. And if you ask my girlfriend, guys, listen, I don't care what you think about The Fourth Kind, the movie. That movie made me hate barn owls for life. So now that Jackson has told me that Jake Gyllenhaal looks like a fucking owl in Nightcrawler, now I'm not going to be able to watch the fucking movie at all. So thank you for that. Yeah, so...
You know what? I think this just shows that you need to get over it. You need to mend your relationship with owls.
No. The Fourth Kind has completely ruined owls for me. So yeah, I mean, do you like my 10 through 6 so far? Does it tickle your fancy?
Yeah, we have one actually in common that's at the exact same number.
I'm pretty sure I know what it is.
Yeah. Well, you'll tell me if you figured it out when I say it.
Okay.
So my top 10, I should mention some of the ones that won't be on there because I didn't see them. And I haven't seen Inherent Vice yet. I haven't seen American Sniper, Selma, Mr. Turner, which I actually started today, but I didn't finish because I had to do this.
Before you start, Jackson, I actually I forgot to say that too. All those movies that Jackson just said, I have not seen either, so keep that in mind.
Yeah. So there's a lot of the foreign stuff. Like I didn't see Mommy. I haven't seen Force Majeure. I haven't seen Timbuktu, Tangerines, Leviathan. I really wanted to see. And I could go through like I could spend an hour just listing movies that I haven't seen. Yeah. But okay. So one foreign film that I did see, which actually I did not get the best copy of it. Translation was not great for subtitles. If the translation was better, this would be even higher on my list. And that is Winter Sleep, directed by Nuri Bilge Ceylan.
Just to clarify, this is your number 10, right?
This is my number 10.
Okay, cool.
So this is a Turkish film. It's 3 hours long.
Wow.
Won the Palme d'Or at Cannes Film Festival this year. It's sort of about this hotel in, I think, Anatolia, which I believe is in Turkey. I'm not good at the geography.
At the geography?
I'm not good at geography. So the idea is that this hotel is sort of the center of town, and the guy running it, who's played by a guy named, I think his name's Haluk Bilginer, fantastic in the movie. He's a former actor. He runs the hotel, and sort of, I believe they get snowed in. See, this I would know much better if I had a better translation.
Yeah.
I believe they get snowed in, and sort of the fact that they're all together in this hotel really brings out a lot of old grudges and things to discuss, and it's like 90% conversation, and it's based off of two short stories by the great Russian writer Anton Chekhov, Excellent People and The Wife. And he's considered to be one of the greatest playwrights who ever lived. It's very dialogue heavy. Again, and this sort of, I think, speaks to how good the movie is the fact that I did not necessarily understand all of it because some of it felt like very, very broken English with the subtitles. The fact that it still made my top 10 because it's such an engrossing movie, just the atmosphere, the cinematography is amazing. You have this sort of warm cave environment on the inside and this desolate white wasteland on the outside. It's really fantastic. Check it out if you get the chance. 3 hours, but it doesn't really feel that long. It feels like you're watching a really, really good play, and that makes sense because it was adapted from the work of a playwright. So my number 9 is Foxcatcher, directed by Bennett Miller.
Wow.
I believe Alonso Duralde described it as, he says, Bennett Miller first started with a creepy murder mystery, or creepy, murder movie, Capote, and then he did a sports movie, Moneyball, and now he is a creepy murder sports movie. this is not just a sports movie. This gets under your skin, man. I could not stop thinking about this movie. The three performances are incredible. Steve Carell, fantastic. Channing Tatum, his best performance ever. Mark Ruffalo, fantastic. And I think Bennett Miller's good at getting performances out of people you wouldn't expect. I don't think anyone was necessarily expecting Steve Carell to be this creepy. I don't think anyone was expecting Channing Tatum to be this really outstanding. But then you sort of look at his previous work and it's like, okay, well, he got an Oscar nomination out of Jonah Hill. So there you go. I mean, this guy can work with actors. And so much of the performances, too, are not just in what they say, it's in what they do.
Yeah.
The movement. I mean, Steve Carell is never not acting. You know, there's a scene where he sort of jogs around the gym while everyone is doing their wrestling. And even though the camera's not really focused on him, he's just sort of in the background, he jogs in such a way that's clearly not how he actually jogs, but that's how the guy jogs.
Yeah.
Like, just those things. Channing Tatum, Mark Ruffalo, they don't have the bodies of wrestlers because the bodies of wrestlers are very, I think, top-heavy.
Yeah.
They're very built up top, and that's why they're kind of hunched over a lot. They sort of look like apes in a way. No offense to any wrestlers. Don't kick my ass. But you look like an ape.
Whoops.
But they carry themselves in that way. It's those great performances are the ones that go to every single muscle and bone in the body. And it's not just how you speak, but it's how you move. That's the stuff that really impresses me. And this is probably the best set of performances I've seen all year.
Yeah.
Like cast-wise, the best set of performances because they're so transformative.
Yeah.
And I think Carell's going to get a Best Actor nod. I think Ruffalo's going to get Best Supporting Actor nod. I think, unfortunately, Tatum's going to be ignored, but
yeah,
he should not be ignored because this is the best performance he's given. I will never, ever doubt him ever again. Anyway, that's my number 9. Foxcatcher. Awesome movie. Love Bennett Miller. Can't wait to see who does next. And even Vanessa Redgrave, too. Sorry, Vanessa Redgrave. 10 minutes she's in it. She's amazing.
Yeah.
8 is the Lego Movie.
Okay.
Was that one that you guessed?
I guessed that right.
Okay, yeah. It's so much fun.
It really is.
Like, I wanted, the snob in me would be like, yes, Winter Sleep and all these, artsy foreign movies. But, like, the Lego Movie is so cheerful and so not cynical. It's sharp. It's smart. It's a lot of fun. I've seen it 2 or 3 times. I bought it on Blu-ray, and I never buy new movies on Blu-ray. But this was it's so rewatchable. It's so much fun. We talked about it, I think, at length because I think we both had it in our top 10s midway through the year.
And guess what? They stuck.
They stuck. Yeah, that's one of the ones that stuck. It's one of those things where, like, a lot of movies, a lot of family films that sort of work for adults too. Things like, let's say, Shrek. They have stuff for the kids and they have stuff for the adults.
Yeah.
But they're sort of separate. It's like we have a kid joke, we have an adult joke. We have a kid joke, we have an adult joke. Right? We have a kid joke, we have some, like, sneaking in some adult jokes. But the Lego Movie is so not like that because the Lego Movie, every joke works for both audiences.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
And that is so hard to do.
Yeah.
It is so hard to make a joke that resonates with, like, basically every age demographic. That's tough. And that's a lot of even great family films cannot do. I think Phil Lord and Chris Miller have not hit a bad note yet as far as their films go, because I also thought 22 Jump Street was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Jump great.
Yeah.
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs great. They're not directing the next Lego Movie, but they are writing it, so I am hopeful for that.
Yeah.
It's just really fun, and it's just infectiously enjoyable.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone I know one person who dislikes this movie, and I don't even know him that well.
Can we go find him?
What?
Can we go find him, please?
We're just going to play it to him until he likes it.
Okay.
Because that's not even a movie you get violent over, because it's just too happy.
Well, can we strap him down, like, in a dark room and just, like, play the Lego movie on loop?
Orange him?
Yeah, exactly.
I could do that. That seems like a happy medium. So my number 7 is Locke.
Wow, you actually put it on your list.
I did.
Wow.
I love this movie. Tom Hardy, I think, is one of the best actors working today. This is maybe my second favorite performance of his. I still would put Bronson first.
Oh, Bronson hands down. But I totally agree with Locke being like up there. It was a very, very good movie. Yeah. So yeah, take it away.
I think if it had come out during Oscar season, I think they could have pushed Tom Hardy a lot more because for like best actor, because this is so much an actor's movie in that if he's not compelling, I'm not sure the movie actually works. But he is this transformative actor. He's chameleon-esque. He's engaging and interesting. And credit too should be given to a lot of the voice acting. I don't know if it's technically voice acting, but the conversations on the other side. The performers, one of whom is Ruth Wilson, who was in Luther. She's in The Affair right now, which is like my favorite TV show that's currently airing or just finished airing its first season. She was in that Jane Eyre miniseries for BBC. She's a great actress. She's like his wife on the other end, and so much of that I feel like doesn't get enough credit because the acting there is so good, and I love that you don't actually see what's going on the other side of the conversation. Like, on who's the other side of the phone. Because the acting's so good and the writing's so sharp that it's so easy to just envision. And people may envision it differently, but it's not difficult to envision what's going on the other side. And in a way, you're sort of like Tom Hardy because he can't see the other side.
Yeah.
So you can't see the other side, but you're both sort of imagining it.
Yeah, I kind of got that while I was watching. Like, even though we didn't see anyone else in the entire movie, but all those voices, I could actually picture them in the room, like, on the phone talking to Tom Hardy's character.
Right, and it's one of those things where the stakes of the movie are not necessarily huge. They're huge to him.
Yeah.
But we're still drawn in. We're still like, what's happening next? I mean, it is as intense as any mystery thriller you will see.
I think it's really intriguing about what you just said because I'm not saying it's like a reality TV show, but like, you know how like people watch those shows because they'd like to see family drama and like human drama. This is all Locke is just a bunch of family drama. But Jackson's right; it's so compelling that it makes it seem like a really high intense thriller, even though it's just a bunch of people within a family kind of talking to one another. It's really interesting.
Yeah, and if it were up to me, he would get an Oscar nomination. He's outstanding. And just, I think it's an interesting experiment. It's like if someone, I mean, it's almost in a way even more experimental than My Dinner with Andre, which is sort of this film from 1981 by Louis Malle, where it's just two dudes talking the entire movie. They're just having this conversation. And in a way, it's like Stephen Knight, who his first film was Redemption, which came out last year, which was kind of unexceptional. I kind of wish this had been his debut because then you could be like, wow, what a debut. But this is actually his second film. He wrote, I think, Eastern Promises. He might have written A History of Violence.
Nice. I
don't know.
Yeah.
He did one of those. He wrote one of those Viggo Mortensen, David Cronenberg movies. But yeah, and it's such an interesting experiment. And I think it so could have gone wrong, but it's handled so perfectly. So yeah, Locke. Actually, when I first heard about it, when I first heard that Tom Hardy was doing this movie, I was like, fuck yeah, we get a biopic of philosopher John Locke. It's not.
Yeah.
There's no John Locke in it, unfortunately. But yeah, so my number 6 is a Belgian film starring an actress who has kind of been on fire this year, at least in 2 films. It's 2 Days, One Night.
Oh, I actually saw that the other day.
You liked it?
I liked it. Yeah, go and explain it.
So it's directed and written by Luc Dardenne and Jean-Pierre Dardenne. They're known collectively as the Dardenne brothers. I've never seen any of their films before. I'm going to go back and watch some of their other stuff because I knew a lot of people who were like, oh, new Dardenne brothers movie. I'm so excited. I'm like, you lost me. But this is a great movie. It's basically Marion Cotillard, who also, the other movie she did was The Immigrant, which I should have mentioned as an honorable mention. I really like that. She's fantastic in that movie. This movie, she plays this woman who works for this, I believe, solar energy company. And they can't afford to give everyone bonuses. So the boss basically says, well, you could. Everyone at the company can vote. You either vote to get your $1,000 bonus, and we have to fire Marion Cotillard, or you keep Marion Cotillard, but you lose your bonus. And so the first vote, they do a first vote, which basically they say we're going to fire Marion Cotillard, and she so desperately needs the money for her family that she basically convinces the company to do to vote again. And so she basically, for this whole weekend, 2 days and 1 night, it's a Friday, and they say, okay, we'll do the vote on Monday. She has to spend the weekend going to the houses of every person she works with and try to convince them to give up their bonus for her job, so she can keep her job. And it's one of those things where there's no real bad guys in a way, because even the people who want the bonus, and they're not necessarily okay with firing her. It's just that they desperately need the money. It very much reminds me of an Italian neo-realist film, like a De Sica, Umberto D, or Bicycle Thieves, where it's so much about sort of the struggle to survive and the kind of unfortunate dog-eat-dog situation that a lot of lower-class people are put into because of how horrible the economy is globally.
Yeah.
I found it super compelling. I know a few people who found it boring.
I didn't find it boring, and I understand the compelling nature of this movie. I mean, it was good, but I wasn't blown away or anything. Because like I heard a lot about this. I was like, because Marion Cotillard is like having a hell of a year right now, and this is one of those ones where she's getting a lot of praise for. I watched it. I was like, yeah, it was good. Just didn't make my top 10, but. I understand why you put it on there for sure.
She's great in it.
She's fantastic.
We can at least agree on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what were we gonna say?
No, I said we can at least agree on that she's great in the movie.
Yeah, she's
I think one of the best actresses working right now.
Yeah, I totally agree. She's fantastic. So, there you go, guys. That's Jackson's 10 through 6. Winter's Sleep, Foxcatcher, Lego Movie, Lock, and 2 Days, 1 Night. You guys ready for it? The beefy part of this podcast is about to go down right now. We're going to go 5 through 2. Jackson is going to go first on this one, and then I will go second, and then we'll reveal our top 1. So, Jackson, what is your number 5?
So, for most of the year, I thought the Lego Movie would be my favorite animated film.
And shit!
I thought 2 Days, 1 Night would be my favorite foreign film.
Oh fuck, man! Jackson's really good at building tension.
I'm good at building the suspense. This next film is the best in both of those categories. It is The Tale of the Princess Kaguya, directed by Isao Takahata.
Everyone's been talking about this. Everyone.
It's fantastic. Isao Takahata he directed Grave of the Fireflies, he directed My Neighbors the Yamadas. He is a big Studio Ghibli guy, but I've always felt like a lot of people just consider Studio Ghibli to be the Hayao Miyazaki company.
Yeah.
And as great as Hayao Miyazaki is, that's not fair to all of the other people who work there, who are fantastic. It's the second to last Studio Ghibli film. There's one coming out in 2015 in Japan, which means we probably won't get it to 2016, directed by something Yonebayashi, the guy who did The Secret World of Arrietty. But I think this would be a very fitting last movie for Studio Ghibli, because not only is it one of their best, but it's also being the studio would have been closed out by the guy who has always been sort of the underdog at Studio Ghibli, and sort of a chance to really show that he is one of the best. Not that Grave of the Fireflies didn't do that, not that My Neighbors the Yamadas didn't do that. It's weird. It's sort of about this girl who they find. She's this little fairy, and then she turns into a baby, and then she starts growing up really quickly, and she learns to be a princess. The way it's drawn looks like it's written on like papyrus, like it's very rudimentary.
Nice.
The music by I'm blanking on the dude's name right now, but the music is spectacular. Voice acting's great. I mean, it's as charming as any great Studio Ghibli film. It's as emotionally resonant as any great Studio Ghibli film. It's as entwined in sort of Japanese mythos and culture and aesthetic as any Studio Ghibli film has been, any great Studio Ghibli film. There's not much more to say about it. I mean, this hit me. I think this is possibly the best animated film since Up. So that's what, 5 years, 6 years?
Yeah, Up came out in 2009, so yeah, 5 years.
Yeah. Joe Hisaishi, that's the name of the guy who did the music. Fantastic. He's done a lot of the Ghibli films.
Okay.
So yeah, Tale of Princess Kaguya, my favorite foreign film of the year, my favorite animated film of the year, my favorite animated film of the decade.
Wow! Holy shit! I gotta check this out. I gotta check this
really
out.
Fantastic, and this is only number 5. So...
What the fuck? Okay then.
Yeah, definitely worth checking out. Beautiful movie. My number 4 is Gone Girl.
Oh, interesting.
I think it's a really interesting experiment in casting. I think they cast, Rosamund Pike was maybe someone that not a lot of people expected to be so great at this role, and she really is. She gives off this sort of same vibe that I get from like a Barbara Stanwyck, like Barbara Stanwyck in Double Indemnity from 1944, like this smoky noir, or like Lauren Bacall in To Have and Have Not or The Big Sleep, like this smoky, mysterious, sexy woman. In like classic noir films. And the film itself feels like a classic noir, something that maybe Raymond Chandler would have written, mixed with like a really trashy, like true crime show, like Wives with Knives. My mother's really into those types of shows. Wives with Knives, or like Black Widows, or like just stuff like that. That's like, it's about, spousal. It's about spouses who maybe are not as great to each other as we think they are. There's a lot of twists and turns in the movie. And yeah, it is trashy in a way, because I think there's sort of a black comedy to the film. There are some scenes that are so over the top violent, and I think you probably know which scene I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's so ridiculously bloody. But it's done in a way that's like, it's funny, but you're kind of like, okay, this is supposed to be a little bit humorous, because of how ridiculous it is. I think it treads that line between sort of serious mystery and black comedy. David Fincher always directs it with a great style. I think he's been pretty consistently good. I think actually this is his best movie. I have to see Zodiac again, but this might be my favorite movie of his. I think it's Ben Affleck's best performance we've seen from him. Tyler Perry, surprisingly really good. Carrie Coon, great breakthrough performance. Neil Patrick Harris lays it on a little thick, but he's solid. And again, Rosamund Pike, the centerpiece of this film. She is phenomenal.
Yeah.
She's going to get an Oscar nomination. I would love it if she won, because she hits so many different notes. It's such a versatile performance. So many different things she has to do, and she does them all effortless. I don't know, effortless. It looks effortless.
Yeah.
And sort of flawlessly. So yeah, that's my number 4 is Gone Girl. Really, really recommend it. And when I walked out of the theater, I was like about to have a panic attack. Like, the ending is so great because it's sort of a recall. It sort of recalls something from the beginning, but because there's sort of a different context to it, it evokes a completely different feeling. And it's sort of this really cool way of showing that you can have sort of the same shot.
Yeah.
And same scenario, but a different context completely changes the way you feel about the scene.
I totally agree about that. I
think you probably know which shot I'm talking about.
Oh,
right?
for sure, yeah. But I'll get into that shortly. Okay, well that didn't really hide anything, but you continue.
Number 3 is Birdman.
Oh shit! You put it higher.
I put it high. I've been a big fan of Alejandro González Iñárritu.
Yeah.
Amores Perros, I think, is maybe the best foreign film of the century.
Oh shit!
And Babel. I love it so much.
I like how you said
Babel. I called it Babel, and then someone was like, "No, it's Babel." And then I've been saying it's Babel, and then someone was like, "No, it's Babel." So it's like, fuck it, I'll just say both.
That was fantastic. You were just like, "Yeah, I really liked Babel." I mean, he did Babel, but I mean, like, so it's like
Babel.
It's just
I
like
really liked Babel Babel.
Would you like?
21 Grams is great. I didn't see Beautiful.
Would you like any vegetables on your sandwich? Yeah, I would like a tomato. I really love those tomatoes. You know.
Like, he drowns you in misery.
Yeah.
He so loves depressing stories, and this, in a way, is like he's making a movie about someone's misery, but it's wickedly funny.
Yeah.
It's dark and it's just hilarious, and the fact that everything is and like Chase said, you know, you can sort of see where someone might cut. You know, a lot of times if there's a quick pan across the room, or if they pass over something and the screen is dark for is completely black for even a fraction of a second, you're like, okay, they could do that. But even so, even if it's technically not one take, these are some really long takes.
Yeah, they're very, very long.
I think it was Zach Galifianakis in like an interview. He talked about like the most nerve-wracking thing is when you're at the end of a scene.
Yeah.
You pop out and say one thing, and he's like, I'm afraid if I pop out, you know, say one thing and I mess it up, and they had been doing a scene for like the past 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That I'm going to ruin it. The whole cast is great. You know, Gone Girl had you know, comedic actors doing some really solid dramatic work. Zach Galifianakis here is great. Michael Keaton might win an Oscar. I think right now it's between him and Eddie Redmayne.
Yeah.
Definitely going to get nominated. Edward Norton, probably my favorite supporting performance of the year. Emma Stone, she's fantastic. Andrea Riseborough, Naomi Watts, the whole cast is great. And I think the fact that it looks like one shot just adds this sort of tension, because even though you know, like, okay, I know these actors are not going to mess up because, like, it's a movie. Like, if they messed up, it wouldn't have been in the movie.
Yeah.
But you still get that feeling where you're like, everything could sort of come crashing down. It feels like you're playing this, like, game of Jenga.
That's very interesting. I never thought of it that way.
Like, there's this tension of Jenga where it's like one wrong thing and the entire tower comes crumbling down. There's definitely a lot of there's a lot of tension to it, even though it's not necessarily a tense film in a lot of ways. Not much more to say. It's cinematography by Emmanuel Lubezki, who does a lot of stuff with Alfonso Cuarón. He won an Oscar for Gravity. He did some of the later Terrence Malick films from like The New World to now. He's been working with Malick. He's, I think, one of the best dudes in the business right now. And his camera work feels almost like you're there, and when it's sort of soaring around, it feels like Birdman's there. Like you're looking through Birdman's eyes.
Yeah.
When the camera sort of flies around. Because there even is one scene where he's sort of hallucinating Birdman flying behind him, and you're like, that's kind of exactly where the camera usually is.
Yeah.
It's great. I love the ending. Yeah, I know there were some disagreements about the ending that ended in a few hospitalizations, but coincidentally. But yeah, it's I probably talked too much about this. It's super funny, and I think it's going to be a big Oscar contender, and I cannot wait to see what Alejandro does next.
Yeah.
Next year he has The Revenant with Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hardy.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be a return to his misery, but I'm all for it.
Yeah.
So my number 2 is just a little background. I love it when movies take something that's not necessarily intense and they make it really intense.
Here we go.
Sort of. Okay, Chase knows what it is.
I know what it is.
Sort of like in The Master when he's being processed and Joaquin Phoenix can't blink, and you're just sitting, and that almost feels like a Jenga tower, and a lot of this feels like a Jenga tower too, where he's sitting and he can't blink, and you're just there, and you're like not blinking either, and you're like, Jesus Christ, this is so intense. And then Jake Gyllenhaal's like, I don't know, I never blink. What's so bad about that? And this was something that's not necessarily intense, and they took it and they made it just just riveting, and that's Whiplash by Damien Chazelle. Man, the music in this is great. I love jazz. Get Gilberto is one of my favorite albums of all time. Bitches Brew and Saxophone Colossus. I fucking love jazz. So, I love the soundtrack to this movie. And I should mention the Birdman soundtrack, also great too. Very like minimalist jazz drumming. But it's about a drummer, and he's at a conservatory, played by Miles Teller, and he wants to be the very best, like no one ever was. And he gets into this orchestra done by this guy named, I think it's Andrew Fletcher, who's played by J.K. Simmons, who is absolutely remarkable. J.K. Simmons, basically J.K. Simmons is sort of this like drill sergeant type of R. Lee Ermey from Full Metal Jacket kind of character, but who sort of emotionally and verbally abuses. I can't remember the name of Miles Teller's character, but abuses him to just push him harder and harder and harder. I mean, you see Miles Teller drumming till his hands bleed, and he just sort of dips his hand into a pitcher of ice water and then just keeps going, just to like numb the hands, and just keeps going. And I think in the hands of other actors, that it would have felt very Karate Kid-esque, and it is kind of Karate Kid-esque. If Mr. Miyagi was like a shitty human being. But J.K. Simmons brings so many layers to this character. There's so much beneath the surface that he's not just the shouty drill sergeant. He's not just R. Lee Ermey in Full Metal Jacket. He's sort of an enigma. There's a mystery to him. And, it's the editing. It's got some of the best editing of the year. The cinematography is great. Gets up really close to the drums and the trombones and all that stuff. And I think J.K. Simmons is sort of the glue that holds this movie together because he's so compelling. And I think his character is one of the best characters to, have been written for this year. No doubt Whiplash is going to be on yours, right, Chase?
I don't know. It was a pretty shit movie. Jackson knows I'm being very sarcastic. So that is his 5 through 2. Very interesting group you got there. I'm going to start with my number 5. It's a little higher on my list than Jackson's list. And that is Foxcatcher. Now, when I walked out of Foxcatcher, I thought to myself, one, if that movie was in 3D, Steve Carell's face nose would have like hit my face like the whole.
It's like a fin from Jaws.
It really is. Like I was really fearful for my life. Bennett Miller was at the screening, and I almost wanted to ask him like, "Hey, did you ever get like poked in the eye by Steve Carell's nose?" But I mean, that would have been really insensitive. The performances in this movie, like Jackson said, are top notch, guys. Like this is one of the best group ensembles besides Birdman. I've always rooted for Steve Carell. Like he's good, he's very good. Mark Ruffalo does amazing, but I've always been behind Tatum in this movie. Channing Tatum has one of the biggest transformations in this entire film, and he nails it. This was a movie built for him, and he completely succeeded. Foxcatcher is shot well. It's got like this dark and bleak, like dirty, it gets under your skin. Like Jackson said, like you're just like, oh my God, John DuPont, please don't come near me, don't touch me. Like it's that type of movie. Like it's a very interesting and deep character study on John DuPont. I seriously think Steve Carell's character him and Channing Tatum's character are the ones being studied in this film. And Steve Carell's character, he wants to be accepted. He finds like the one thing that he's always wanted to be accepted in, even though he's got like no knowledge of it, which is wrestling. Channing Tatum wants to be out of his brother's shadow, which is played by Mark Ruffalo. There's so much going on, and it leaves you with that dark, cold feeling. But you can't help but think that like, damn, that was just a good movie, regardless if it made you feel like super dirty and cold inside. It's a very well made movie. And it's actually a really good horror movie if you really think about it. So
it's one of the scariest movies of the year.
It really is. And so Foxcatcher, guys, please go see it. It's on Jackson's list. It's on my list. Number 5, Foxcatcher. Hey, Academy, if you are in a dark warehouse right now and some guy's got a gun to your head and they say, do you want to listen to Reel Me In Cole in the movie podcast or eat this giant dog turd that looks like a chocolate-covered hot dog? And you choose my podcast because you just don't want to get sick from the turd. If you're listening to this, please, for the love of everything that is holy, nominate Tatum for an award for this movie. I know you won't, but if you do, that would make me so happy inside. I would be very giddy. So please, just reconsider these, nominate all 3 of them for crying out loud. They're just so good. Tatum's amazing. Carell's amazing. It's just a very good movie. Number 4 is on Jackson's honorable mentions. Boyhood. Now, when I did the podcast with Jackson a while back of top movies so far this year, I had Boyhood at number 1. And obviously I bumped it down, but it still has held up to me to this day. And I think what I really liked about it was it really did mimic life. And a lot of us did grow up like that, and we all had kind of similar things about the movie. And what I really liked about it is someone kind of put this in better terms for me that made me really take stance on this movie and why it's awesome. A lot of people don't like the sporadic short story structure where it's basically just a bunch of short stories strung together with the actors growing up. One reviewer put it perfectly and said it's kind of like life in general, and we only have flickers of memories that we have in our mind, and it's kind of like the memories of L.R. Coltrane's character in the movie, where he is the boy growing up. We are seeing kind of like the memories of his life, and kind of the things that he remembers and stuff. And when you put it in that context, it just makes me enjoy it even more. Because listen, I know a lot of people love this movie. There's some people that hate it, which I have no clue. Did they not grow up as a child? Did they grow up on some alien ship and get probed every night? I don't know. But it captures life so beautifully. There are some times where I didn't really care for the acting because, there's not the best actors in this movie, but I really love Ethan Hawke. I've always been an Ethan Hawke fan, especially when he's in other Richard Linklater movies, which he directed this one. He's in the Before trilogy, which is my favorite romantic story of all time, all 3 of them put together. Ethan Hawke is fantastic in this. I like Patricia Arquette. She's good, but she's not up there like everyone's saying, but I really enjoyed her as the mother. And I like the kids. It's just the acting is not super strong besides Ethan Hawke. That would be my only complaint about it. But other than that, I loved it. It was basically a time capsule of life. And it's so, I guess, unique in a way to see actors actually grow up on screen and it's still the same actor. Because usually when you make these movies, you hire the kid, you hire the crappy teenager, and then you hire the adult, whatever. But it's nice to actually see them grow up. And it just reminded me a lot of my life. And there was a lot of scenes in the movie where I saw and I was like, holy shit, I actually experienced that at that time, at that age. So it was really nice to watch. But unfortunately, it got beat out by 3 other movies. And I'm about to get to my top 3, which is here are the 3 that where I walked out. And I was like, you know what? That was a really good fucking movie experience. I want to experience that again. So, number 3 is Jackson's number 4, and that is Gone Girl. I fucking love this movie. And little fun fact, my girlfriend had never seen a David Fincher film. I took her to that one as her first one, and she loved it. Gone Girl is a very... Jackson put it perfectly. It's really weird. It's like a trashy movie with a pretty cool little thriller mixed in with some dark comedic moments. But the way it was shot and the way it was put together and the way it was acted made it seem way more than what it was. And so just putting that all together and putting David Fincher's touch on it, it totally just made for a really cool, kind of eerie, fun time. And the whole beginning shot and last shot, it's really interesting because it's literally the same shot, but they put it in a completely different context at the beginning and the end. And you're just like, Well, fuck. Does that mean the whole movie's in a different context than what it was? Like, what the fuck did I just watch, David Fincher? You fuck. So, like, yeah, it's such a good, weird, creepy movie. Rosamund Pike. Oh my god. I've always seen her in movies, but I never noticed her. I noticed her in this film, and she will get noticed at the Oscars, and hopefully she wins it. She kills it in this. And listen, I've always been on the Ben Affleck train. He's been a very good actor. I've always been a fan of him. Yeah, you can come back at me and say, oh, he did Giggly and fucking Daredevil, 10 years ago. Okay, that was 10 years ago. He's grown up as an actor. He can do that. You know that, right? So this was the best thing he's ever done, period. And I love Ben Affleck, and I can't wait to see him as Batman. But this was a role that was like kind of built for him and built for Rosamund Pike, and I thought the casting was perfect. Except for Jackson nailed it on the head. The only complaint I actually had about this movie was Neil Patrick Harris. I love the dude. I think he's very charismatic and enthusiastic in whatever he does, but I thought he was a bit of a miscast. And like, I don't know if it's because he is him and he's very popular, but all I saw was Neil Patrick Harris in the role. But that could be me though, and that's probably because I plowed through all of How I Met Your Mother. Like maybe
he's Barney Stinson, only slightly creepier.
Yeah, he's basically like, because Barney Stinson on How I Met Your Mother is kind of like, oh, that's funny. He made a masturbating joke about masturbating in like a porn store or something. If his character in Gone Girl said, it's like, oh, lock that guy up right now. He needs to go to jail. So I mean, like, he was the only misstep for me. I love the music. Trent Reznor, he's done like the past like 2 or 3 David Fincher movies, and Social Network's great. Girl with Dragon Tattoo's great. This is fantastic. It's a really high class trashy thriller. I think that's the best way to put it, and I really fucking loved it. And
somehow it manages to be both.
Exactly.
High class and trashy. Yeah.
And me and Jackson are not saying this movie's trashy because it wouldn't be on our top 10s, but it does have that kind of like those like books you see at Walmart where it's like that one night, the lonely night, or one dark night, or the guy, the man, or those basic titles on books that they're just like those stupid erotica thrillers. That's what this was kind of, but it was in such a high class in terms of like the cinematography, the music, the acting, the directing in general, that you can totally overlook that. And it was highly entertaining. So yeah, Gone Girl at number 3, I cannot talk about it enough. Number 2, Under the Skin. Now, this has actually been my number 2 since I put it at my number 2. Well, actually, I had it at my number 1, but then I saw Boyhood and then I knocked it down. Under the Skin is without a doubt the best thing I've ever seen Scarlett Johansson do. It is the closest thing I have gotten to a Kubrick movie since Eyes Wide Shut. This is a fantastic film. And a lot of people are saying it's pretentious trash, it's shitty, or you'll be on the latter and you'll be like me, where it's like, you can actually see the messages in this movie, and it's told in such a weird, unique, metaphorical thing to where you're just like, that was really cool. Like, it really gets under your skin. There you go. There's the pun. It's a very creepy movie about humanity, and it really shows you how shitty we are. And I really, like, when I first saw it, it kind of got me a little bit to get into it. Like, within, like, 10 minutes, I was totally sucked into the movie. I was ready to go. And then at the very end of the movie, I was so into it that I almost broke down in tears because of one specific scene in the woods with Scarlett Johansson. It really, like, it's a very unsettling movie about humanity, and like, no spoilers, sorry. But I mean, like, it's a very disturbing look on humanity. It makes you sick to your stomach, but it's a very interesting watch. It's shot well. Like, if there was a scene in a movie where, like, something was eating something, Under the Skin would take that premise, that simple premise, and make it in such a weird, abstract way. It's kind of cool to look at, and it's very unique to where it seems fresh. So, I guess that's the best way to put it without spoiling anything, but it's a very beautiful looking movie, very eerie. I love ScarJo in it, and plus the bonus is, she gets naked. Because a lot of people think I like it because she gets nude. You guys are fucking idiots. I'm a film buff. I love it because it's a very good film, but it's just the bonus that she gets.
It's like icing on the cake.
Exactly. It's like Under the Skin was like the nice, beautiful, voluptuous carrot cake, and then her getting nude was the cream cheese. So I spilled a little cream cheese after watching it, but sorry, that's a little getting a little too raunchy here, folks. But yeah, that's my number 2, Under the Skin. So Foxcatcher number 5, Boyhood number 4, Gone Girl number 3, Under the Skin number 2. This is getting interesting. I think Jackson knows what my number 1 is. I think I know what his number 1 is because he mentioned it.
Process of elimination.
Yeah, like he mentioned it a while back, and like he has not mentioned it yet. So I was like, "There's no way it's been kicked off." So we're actually going to do this a little differently. Jackson, I'm going to guess your number 1. You're going to guess my number 1, and I'm actually we're going to see if we're right. Jackson's number 1 is Life Itself, the Roger Ebert documentary. I have not seen it yet, but Jackson has been praising this movie ever since it came out, so I will get to it eventually. Jackson, am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Life Itself.
Go ahead and
should I guess yours now, or do I go into why? My number 1 now.
Yeah, go ahead and tell people why you liked it so much and why it's your favorite.
This movie made me cry. So
Jackson, I can't see you cry. I really can't.
I can't see myself cry.
Oh, that's true.
Mirrors keep breaking. So Whiplash was a strong contender to overthrow it. Gone Girl almost overtook it. Birdman almost overtook it. Whiplash came the closest, obviously, because it's number 2, and I think I'm going to guess that's your number 1, but we'll get to that afterwards. Whiplash, I wanted to see it again, and it was super thrilling, and it was it had my heart racing, and I just couldn't stop thinking about it. I wanted to see it again and again and again. But I sort of thought to myself, I can't put that as number 1 because even though I really want to see it again, even though it thrilled me, more than any other movie this year, other movies have thrilled me before. There have been other movies that I could not stop thinking about that I just wanted to watch again. No movie has ever made me cry. And so for that alone, I wanted to put it as number 1. But it really is sort of a touching tribute to someone that I think me, probably you, Chase, in some way looks up to Roger Ebert and in some way influenced by him. Anyone who writes about movies, who loves talking about movies, who reviews movies in any capacity, be it videos, writing, podcasts, you use marker on the bathroom wall to talk about your favorite movies, whatever. Any medium that you want to talk about movies, you probably in some way have at least heard of Roger Ebert. Yeah. He was a remarkable writer. I try to be like him, where I sort of come from a place of emotion, and I feel like every movie in some way relates to me, and I would be, when I would write, because every movie, I have a personal relationship with every movie. Either I hated it because maybe it reminded me of something, or I loved it because it reminded me of something. It reminded me of a childhood memory, something like that. I think that merits mention in any review of a film. I've never been a fan of the type of reviews where it's like you're trying to almost be objective, because I think it's impossible, and I think it's great to sort of embrace individuality and just be so honest about yourself in your reviews, because I think a good review tells you about the critic as much as it tells you about the film. And in a way, I feel like I knew Roger Ebert because there was so much that he was so honest in all of his writing, be it his memoir, be it his reviews, about his alcoholism, about his childhood, about all sorts of things. And the movie covers it beautifully. It's directed by Steve James, who did Hoop Dreams, which is, one of the greatest documentaries ever made. I think this is maybe the best documentary I've seen since Hoop Dreams, which was in 1994. So Steve James got this game on lock. It's hard to really say why it's hard to really say why other people should see this movie because it's it just resonated with me so personally. But I actually watched it a second time in a college class that I was taking, a media class, and even people who didn't know or had ever heard of Roger Ebert liked the movie because I think they set him up as this, whether you knew about his alcoholism or not, whether you knew about anything about him, they set him up as this really likable but flawed person from the beginning, so that even if it was your first time hearing about him, you immediately got to know him at the beginning, so that when some of the sad stuff comes around, right, his cancer, the fact that he lost his jaw and he couldn't speak, you even if you didn't know him before, it still had an emotional punch to it because the movie does a good job of really letting you know what he was like. There are some scenes that are hard to watch. He had to get suctioned after his jaw was removed, so they would have to suction the saliva out of his throat. Watching that, I burst into tears because it's just so hard to see someone you admire who's sort of like this king to you, this deity, be sort of reduced to being suctioned. It's just sad. But it's not depressing. It's never depressing, this movie. It's always hopeful.
Yeah.
And it's always focusing on the good stuff. And if I had one complaint, there are some things I wish they had covered. Like they talked about Gene Siskel a lot. They never even mentioned Richard Roper. He never even got an interview.
Wow.
Yeah, that I thought was weird. I think it was a scheduling thing because, Richard Roper obviously was not as big as Gene Siskel, but I mean, he did the show with Richard Roper for like a good 8 years.
That's what I was fixing to say. Like, me and Jackson are like around the same age. Like, we grew up like when Ebert and Roper were on television doing their show. So Roper's still influential. Like that kind of shocks me that he wasn't in there.
Yeah, I think it was a scheduling thing. I read something about how it was a scheduling thing because I think Roper probably would have done it, had he been able to, because he had great respect for Ebert. He put out a video when Ebert died talking about Ebert. So he had a lot of respect for the guy. And I can't imagine him not wanting to do it. I think it was just a scheduling thing. But I do kind of wish that was there because I feel like there's sort of a chunk of Ebert's career that was missing. That could have been covered, but I think emotionally it hits all the right notes. And it never tries for it never gets melodramatic. Like there's a part where Chaz Ebert, his wife, is talking, and Roger's there, and they're holding hands, and she's crying, talking about something, and I want to say it's Matt Zoller Seitz, who's the editor-in-chief of RogerEbert.com. In his review, I think he mentioned this, and it's sort of something I looked out for. But when she's crying, the camera never goes to show her tears. Like, it never zooms into her face, which would sort of be the obvious thing to do. It instead pans and it zooms in on their hands holding and, the grip tightening. And it's like, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
It's not about, milking the emotions. It's about just showing the true human emotions. Man, I cannot praise this movie enough. I fucking loved it. I would watch it a third time, a fourth time, a fifth time. I think it's one of the best documentaries, like I said, since Hoop Dreams.
Yeah.
I probably discussed it far too long. If I could talk a little bit about your what you had for your top 5 or whatever.
Okay, well, but then just
yes.
say about your length of talking about number 1. We're trying to sell everyone on these movies, so if people have never heard of it, they would like to know if it's worth checking out. So I think you sold it pretty well.
Yes.
I really want to check it out now.
2 thumbs up. This movie wrecked me.
Nice.
In a way I'd never been sort of emotionally wrecked before.
Yeah.
I liked most of your. I would agree with most of your top 5. So it's interesting. So you had Under the Skin that was bumped to number 2 by Boyhood, but then ultimately you ended up liking Under the Skin more.
Yeah.
And it sort of moved. I actually disagree with you on Boyhood in that I think Patricia Arquette deserves every ounce of praise she's gotten.
Well, she's good, But I like Ethan Hawke better. I should have rephrased that. They're both fantastic, but I like Ethan Hawke better in the movie.
I think Patricia Arquette's going to win Best Supporting.
Oh yeah, for sure. I do not argue with that. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's better for people like us because, well, and for me in particular, I believe L.R. Coltrane is like maybe a year older than me. So a lot of the stuff that is sort of the pop culture and I was experiencing at the same time as he was.
Yeah.
So I think it works even better if you're around the same age than, let's say, if you're 40, if you're 50, whatever. So you and I are probably, I mean, you're a little bit older than him. I'm a little bit younger than him. But roughly, I mean, we have memories of being young during these things, during these events.
Yeah.
So I think that sort of helps. I think it's going to be a movie that defines this generation.
Oh, for sure.
And I think it's going to be looked on as a classic down the line. You mentioned Gone Girls, the score, which I'm super happy you did. I don't love Nine Inch Nails, but I love their scores. They're very atmospheric.
Exactly. I fucking hate Nine Inch Nails, but I love what Trent Reznor has done in the past 3 movies of Fincher's.
You know what it is? I think Trent Reznor works really well musically, but like I find Nine Inch Nails to be so mopey and whiny.
Exactly.
If you take the lyrics out musically, it actually is very good.
Like, I want you to, like, take the best rock band that you know, put, like, a cotton ball in your ear, and then listen to it. That's what Nine Inch Nails sounds like. It sounds like a watered-down version of any rock band ever. It just sounds very muffled. Just... like, it doesn't sound... Yeah, you're right. Just, no, fuck them. But I'm glad that he's coming more into the movie side and doing soundtracks and stuff because they're absolutely astounding.
Yes, that's by far my favorite original score of the year. That's up there for me as one of the best pieces of film scoring this year. And I think it'll get an Oscar nomination, and I hope it wins. I don't think it'll win, but I hope it does. So your number one, I guess, was Whiplash.
Jackson is wrong. It is Transformers: Age of Extinction. I really love. Hey, how you doing over there? I'm Mark Wahlberg. I like Optimus Prime. You like Optimus Prime? I like Transformers. I love Michael Bay.
Oscar nominees: Mark Wahlberg, Stanley Tucci.
Yeah, yeah. Come on, Jackson. Fucking get it right. No, Jackson is right. My number one best movie of 2014 is Whiplash.
This is where you fucked up because when I saw Whiplash and I texted you, do you remember this? I texted you and I said, that was a great movie. And you were like, oh, that's totally my favorite movie this year. And I'm like, all right, I got him. Nailed him.
Shit.
I win.
Damn it. I knew it. Jackson totally won. Hey, listen, asshole. You're not gonna do this for 2015, okay? For 2015,
I will get you in 2015.
No. What's gonna happen in 2015, guys? Me and Jackson are gonna talk on Skype, talk like we normally do. I'm not gonna fucking mention movies at all. I'll be like, Jack.
Sports and the weather.
Yeah, I'll be like, Jackson, how's that plant that you potted in your backyard the other day? Is it a good orange tree yet? Like, no, I'm not gonna mention movies at all because he tricked me. But Whiplash, listen, guys, you're going to take a movie about a jazz drummer and make it to where your heart is beating so fast, it's like you injected cocaine in yourself. Like, it's such an intense movie to where, like, at the end of the movie, I forgot I was watching a movie. I was so sucked into the movie. I remember specifically my back was not touching the seat. I was, like, leaned up, like, watching the movie. I was like, oh, my God. It was fantastic. And if this movie does not win Best Editing at the Oscars, I'm going to personally send an angry message in a bottle to the... Well, I mean, that's the only thing they like because they're old as hell. So I'm going to send a message via a bottle to the Academy saying, why did you not make this win? Because it's edited so well to the drumming, to the music, to the intensity of J.K. Simmons, to the pace of the story, to just everything about it. It's edited so damn well. Because I'm a filmmaker, guys. I went to school for this, and I can tell you that Whiplash is like... it's a perfectly edited movie. It really is. And I love the acting. I love the music. I love the intensity of the entire thing. It's one of the best. It has one of the best endings of the entire year. It's one of the best movie experiences I've had this entire year, and I was blown away. And J.K. Simmons will win the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor, hands down. He's fantastic in it. But don't discredit Miles Teller. Miles Teller is also a fucking beast in this movie. Like, he's very...
And the guy who plays his dad is good, too.
Yeah, no, like, everyone... shit, what's his name? He was really good, but, like, I've just been talking about Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons so much, I forgot. Yeah, everyone in the movie does very well.
Paul Reiser.
Paul, that's right. What else has he been in?
Let's see. He is in the TV sitcom Mad About You.
Oh, that's why.
He's a stand-up comedian. We're just gonna draw out the podcast.
Oh, so about Paul Reiser.
That was his main thing.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's good.
Yeah, he's a really good actor. And listen, I've been praising this movie. Like, I saw it before Jackson did, and I texted him. I said, "Dude, this is one of the best movies I've ever seen. Period in my life." And he was like, "Yeah, whatever." Because anytime I mention anything to Jackson, he just kind of blows it off because he knows, like, I like...
Well, you know what it is? Is anytime anyone uses hyperbole, I retreat a little bit because I'm like...
That's true.
Best ever.
Anytime I mention something, Jackson goes, "This is the guy that likes American Pie. I'm not going to take him seriously." So, like, when I told him Whiplash was, like, one of the best movies I've ever seen in my 25 years of breathing life, he was like, "No, it's not." But when he watched it, he was like, "Yeah, I can understand why." It's such a fantastic movie. Guys, if you have not seen Whiplash and you like jazz drumming, you like fantastic acting, directing, and editing, this is your movie. Please go see Whiplash. Jackson, I have one question to ask you. Were you rushing or were you dragging?
Oh, man, I want to slap you so bad.
I know.
I want to throw a chair at you so bad.
I know, right? Like, the movie's so quotable from JK's lines, it's ridiculous. But yeah, if you guys have not seen Whiplash, please, for the love of God, see it. Miles Teller's excellent. And guess what? Last year, my number one was Spectacular Now. Who was in that? Miles fucking Teller.
We all know what this means, right? Next year, your favorite movie is going to be Fantastic Four. Or is that 2016? I have no idea.
Jackson, don't. No, like, guys, like,
I got you again.
I know he got me for 2015. It's 2014. Fuck. Yeah, no. Miles Teller is what he is in mainstream movies, but he really excels in independent film, and I really hope he just does more. Period. So yeah, guys, that's my number one. Whiplash. Jackson's number one is Life Itself. So to run down my list, number 10, Enemy, 9, The Congress, 8, The Lego Movie, 7, Birdman, 6, Nightcrawler, 5, Foxcatcher, 4, Boyhood, 3, Gone Girl, 2, Under the Skin, and 1, Whiplash is my favorite film for 2014. Jackson's list is 10, Winter's Sleep, 9, Foxcatcher, 8, The Lego Movie, 7, Locke, 6, 2 Days, One Night, 5, The Tale of Princess Kaguya. Is that it?
Kaguya.
Yeah. Number 4, Gone Girl. Number 3, Birdman. 2, Whiplash. And 1, Life Itself. And that will do it, guys, for 2014. Holy shit. In the year and a half I've done this, this is the longest podcast I've ever done. We're clocking in at 1 hour and 23 minutes and 33 seconds. I'd say that's long enough. I'm sure people are either dead at this point or they went to go get themselves a Snickers bar or like maybe a McDonald's meal. I don't know what, like, people who listen to my podcast are way younger than me. So I don't, what do you guys do nowadays? I'm old as hell.
I think the people who listen should maybe eat healthier than just Snickers and McDonald's. Cause then you end up looking like me.
Or no, you look like both of us.
I would say you have 1 hour and 27 minutes to not care.
That's
even
true.
Longer now.
That's true. I mean, I almost assume that, like,
make a salad, make a soup.
That's true. Because, like, here's the thing: whoever listened to this whole thing, congratulations. I'm going to send you a medal. But I'll guarantee you there's going to be someone out there that clicks on this for the first 10 seconds is like, oh, fuck it, this is terrible. So those people that listen for 10 seconds and quit, cool, goodbye. So that is our favorite films of 2014. It's been a great year for film. I cannot wait for the Oscars. So yeah, next week will be the top 5 most anticipated for 2015. I will try to wrangle Jackson again by putting chloroform over his mouth and dragging him to my closet and tying him up there. And we will talk about next year's movies. But what are you guys' favorite films? Because fuck our list. It's all about you guys. What did you guys like? Well, that's true. Jackson has his...
I mean, maybe it is.
Listen, Jackson's list is permanently engraved like in stone, so you cannot change his list. His list is pure. Like, don't do it. So he is right about his list, but my list, it's a little iffy. So what is your favorite film of 2014? I'm very curious, especially if you've seen... most people have not seen Whiplash, so please tell me if you've seen Whiplash. I just love that movie so much. So does Jackson. So yeah, that will do it, guys. Jackson, thank you for coming on again. Where can the peeps find you?
So my Twitter handle has actually changed because I realized all the raunchy shit I was tweeting should not be under my name. So I am at Things Jack Diggs.
Okay.
Which I call it that because apparently I when I say I like something, I always say that I dig it or I dug it or I'm going to dig it. Apparently that's just my language. So THINGS JACKDIGS. It's all one word. Things Jack Diggs. I would dig it if you followed me on Twitter. And you can also read some of my old blogs at magjournal.net, magjournal.net. I might actually do a write-up of my top 10. Not just movies. I'm actually thinking of doing a write-up of my top 20 albums of 2014 because I listen to a lot of music as well. I think I saw around 92 new releases for movies, and I think I listened to about 83 new releases for albums. So a lot of culture in this man.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Yeah, follow Jackson, guys. He's a damn good writer, and he knows what he's talking about. Because once again, this is coming from the guy that likes Scary Movie, and Jackson does not. Which means he's more sophisticated than I am, and he knows his shit. So please follow him. Do what you have to, because he's awesome. That's why I keep dragging his ass on this podcast. So you guys can follow me on Spreaker here, iHeartRadio. Twitter is at RealChaseLee, REL Chase Lee. Facebook, Real Reviews with Chase Lee. Give that page a like. You can get up-to-dates on live shows whenever I post this shit. Whatever you want to do. YouTube.com/Shabutnik75, capital S, lowercase HABOOTNIK 75. That's where all these podcasts are, movie reviews. I have random shit that you could probably watch while you're taking a dump. I don't care. I think that's it. That's all social media. So I want to thank Jackson again. This is almost an hour and a half long podcast, but it's totally worth it. Very in-depth discussion, top 10. So hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys next week for the top 5 anticipated 2015. I am Chase Lee. That is Jackson Shrout. I will see you guys later. Have a good day. Have a good night. And if you're taking a dump while listening, that's okay. I'll still be your friend. Just don't shake my hand, you disgusting person.
Yeah, and use a match afterwards, or a candle.
I actually throw the match in the toilet. I don't know if that's how it's done, but I think I did it wrong. So yeah, just if you're taking a dump while listening to this, I'll still love you. Just not as much. Okay, I'll see you guys next week. Goodbye.